Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to the GuideTech Podcast. This week, we are bringing you the episode number 19. I'm your host, Garrett Shackelford, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Logan Moe and Hunter Runge. But then we also have a very special guest, the owner of Panhandle Flyways, Brandon Bustos. Brandon, how are you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Thank y'all for having me on.
Definitely. Well, Logan, Hunter, how y'all doing? I always forget to ask y'all.
I'm feeling great. Oh, you finally care now. That's great.
That's my bad. I always skip over y'all. I get nervous and go straight to the guest, so they're not just sitting there listening. Hunter, I appreciate you getting up, man. I know this is usually the middle of the night for you, so I appreciate you getting up and joining us here at 10 in the morning.
Making me feel special.
I know. You should. Well, Brandon, man, again, this podcast is something that's supposed to, one, give you a chance to kind of tell your story, your services that you offer, and then just providing tips and tricks. We're going to dig into the weeds about running the business and then what it actually looks like for the consumer when they come in to hunt with you. But just to kick it off, man, I just want everyone to get to know you, where you grew up, where you're from, how you got into hunting, and then how you got to owning Panhandle Flyways.
Right, for sure, man. So my name is Brandon Bustos, of course. I'm Panhandle Flyways. Born and raised in Plainview, Texas, which that is where we are established out of. We're really one of the only locals left here that are doing this. It's a very popular area, so everyone's kind of congregating to this area. Yeah, born and raised here. My entire life, I've moved away for a couple months at a time, and then I've always gravitated back to this area. As far as Panhandle Flyways, the way I kind of got into it, it's kind of an unorthodox way because I wasn't brought up in a family that was, hunters from day one to now. You know what I mean? It was, we weren't brought up that way. So I kind of YouTube wasn't a big deal back then, but like you could get on YouTube and find you could look up, for example, you could look up rabbit hunting. And I'd go on YouTube, look it up, and all you would find is all these British guys dressed from head to toe in this fancy clothes, shooting rabbits with a pellet gun. I was like, dude, that's freaking sweet. So I pressured my mom into going and get me a pellet gun. And for the first 2 months, dude, I thought that's what hunting was about, dressing head to toe in this
dress up
clothes.
Like that?
No, dude, I didn't. But I would try to mimic some of the stuff they did. They had some leather deals on their neck, like a necklace that they'd put their pellets on, and I'd cut up one of my grandpa's old boots and stuck a bunch of holes in it, and stuck my pellets through there, and so that's kind of how it started out for me. Like I said, I wasn't taken out from day one, getting in a duck blind or getting in a goose field or anything like that. So it started that way, and then really, so I'd say that was about 8th grade for me. From there on out, got into high school. And that's kind of when I met some of my best friends that I've got right now. 2 of them still help me run, Panhandle Flyways today. But they kind of helped me get into the whole hunting deal. It kind of kicked off as upland. Me and my buddy Wrangler, we've always, in the back of our minds, the upland stuff. Because around here, the Panhandle of Texas, 14, 15, 16, 17, that's all we did was just hammer upland. That's where it started for us. And we had this dream of running dogs and starting a boarding and training and this and that. So we pressured that for a while. As in high school, I had a business called HB Short Hairs. And so that kind of rotated. We ended up, after 2017, the upland stuff really wasn't, as far as wild birds, along with many other places, it's kind of just plummeted. So that kind of put a dent in that stuff, and we really weren't able to continue that. And then also at that point, we went to college, and then I only went to college for a semester and ended up leaving that and going to work. And so when I was at work, I was thankful enough to have a working hitch to where I worked 8 days and I had 6 days off. So on my 6 days off, I had another buddy that actually owned an outfitter in town. And on my 6 days off, I would come back and I'd help him do that. And that's when the whole ball really started rolling. And that's how I got into the crane hunting, the goose hunting, duck hunting, all of that stuff. And so that was, like I said, kind of later in my life that I really got into that aspect of hunting.
Right. So tell us kind of where you're at now. So now you've adopted all the the crane hunting, the goose hunting, but where is Panhandle Flyways at now? As in what all you're offering, what those packages look like, and just how the business is doing in general.
Right. So for us, 90% of what we do is the Sandhill Crane. Everyone knows how big it blew up, how popular it is. Everyone And like we mentioned, there's a lot of states that can't hunt them. So it's a real popular attraction for us. So that's mainly what we do is the crane. We also do ducks, not very often, just because I don't know if you've ever been to the Panhandle of Texas, water is not very plentiful. So, the water that the ducks are sitting on, we don't really like to get close to it because 90% of the time there's cranes sitting there also. So we don't really do a whole bunch of duck hunting, but like let's say last year we ran maybe 5 hunts for ducks. We also do the goose hunting, but it's kind of the same deal. I mean, we've got plenty of geese around here, but I love chasing the crane. To me, it's a pretty cool thing to do. As far as our packages, so most of this year is actually our first year doing our all-inclusive stuff. So from lodging, meals, and we kind of separate ourselves by offering shells to our clients. So when I tell you you're going to come on an all-inclusive hunt, I want literally everything to be provided for you except your gun and some warm clothes. So, we provide lodging, meals, shotgun shells, bird cleaning, bird tagging, vacuum seal your meat, really the whole 9 yards to make sure that you can come and have a good time. So that's what our packages look like. Mostly 2 and 3 day hunts, all inclusive, lodging, meals, the whole 9 yards. So that's kind of where we're at now. At first, like anyone else, it kind of was a little bit slow. This is actually only our third full year in operation, under business license, under, insurance, under the whole 9 yards as far as doing everything, by the book. And so it's our third full year, and for our third full year, I couldn't be more grateful as far as where we're at because it's been a blast.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you work full time outside of the season still? Like, are you still doing that job where it's 8 on, 6 off?
Yes. So it's not
Okay.
an 8 on, 6 off anymore. It's a Monday through Friday, normal work day, weekends off. But yes, I do work. So by trade, I'm a journeyman lineman. So when I dropped out of college, my mom worked for a company I'm working for at this time. And then my stepdad was a crane operator for the company I'm working at right now. So that's kind of what got me into the industry. Stepdad had come home, showed me all these cool helicopter videos of guys working power lines on helicopters and this and that. He's like, dude, those people make money. I was like, money? Shit, I'm broke in college, man. That's all you got to say. Sign me up. And so, yeah, that was at that point I had left 9 hours from the house. I went and worked on the coast of Texas. But yeah, so right now I do have that full-time job, but it's I'm fortunate to be where I'm at as far as that job. I'm a serviceman now, so I've kind of worked my way up there and go and turn off power for vacant houses and, do a little odds and end jobs. And so it's not too bad.
Gotcha. Well, one thing that you were talking about earlier that kind of caught my ear, and it made me kind of think of Hunter as well, but you said you're one of the only local outfitters in that area that's left. So you grew up there is what that means, and then you're hunting in that same location. Do you think that gives you an upper hand or more of an advantage because you've been able to build these relationships, or at least you can relate to the farmers that you're getting the permissions to lease their land or to, day lease or whatever that might be?
Right. I think it does. A lot of it is like what you just said, the whole relating to the farmers and this and that. Plainview is not a very big it's not a very big town. So, small town vibes, everyone knows everyone. So if I go talk to a farmer, most of the time I can connect with a guy pretty quick, whether it's between someone we know or just growing up in the area and being able to relate as far as the things that have changed in the area, stuff of that sort. An advantage that I see that we have on our end, for sure.
Gotcha. Hunter, do you feel the same way for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, being from, for us, we're a little bit different. We don't even have, it's just us up where we're at, having no competition
That's
whatsoever.
fair.
I guess we got a little bit, I guess we got a couple, I'd call them small competitions that are within like 50 miles of us, but they're nothing that'll ever bother us. But um, no, being local, knowing everybody since obviously we've all hunted on their land just as long as Brandon's hunted on his guy's land, as you grew up. And I mean, having those relationships and those connections, it just allows you to connect and get that much further in your business.
Yeah. So Brandon, when you're running this operation, so are you only opening dates for when you aren't going to be working, when you're not scheduled to be working currently? Or is it you're wide open and you have guys that are going to come and help while you're out, doing your lineman work?
Right. So for the first year we did that whole, Friday, Saturday, Sunday deal. The second year we jumped into opening up, pretty much wide open, but we still focused on getting those weekends booked because those were for sure deals. But we were also able to do weekday stuff because so my job is extremely flexible. So at that point, I was still classified as a journeyman lineman, but what I was doing was like mapping and patrolling. So just had a computer in my truck. I went around and made sure the computer matched what was in the field. So at that point in time, I was able to get up, at 3 in the morning, 3:30, go help the guys load everything up, meet clients, head out to the field, help everyone set up, scout for a good hour and a half, 2 hours, and then burn off and go do my work, come back at 3 o'clock and scout again. So I was fortunate that way. This year is going to be different. This year is a little more tied up with work. So right now it's basically looking like I'm going to be doing this until season kicks off. Then I'm going to put the entire work deal to the side, focus completely on the hunting deal, and then, once season's over, jump back into it. And my guys, they help me out, an extreme amount. I couldn't tell those guys thank you enough because they are a big part of what we do, whether it's because one day I have to work from 8 to 5 or something like that. My guys pick up a slack, on my end, a handful of times, more times than I can count to say thank you for. So when I'm doing that, they're helping me out on that end. But this year it's just got to we're so busy right now, and we've still got a few more months for those last minute bookings to come in. So it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be in question to where I can work and put it all on my guys. It's a lot for them to handle and just professional wise. You know what I mean? It's not a very professional way to run some things if I'm away 3 hours during the day and then come back after everything's said and done. So, some people are able to make it work, but for this year, as busy as we are, I'm going to run on setting that aside and strictly running the deal for the hunting season.
I got something that I think we would all relate to based on what you said about, being in business with your friends. I think that, there's this kind of misconception out there that being in business with your friends is hard because you have to have those hard conversations and, at the end of the day, you still have to be friends and all of that stuff. But I know each one of us has our friends in our business. Wyatt, one of our co-founders, and also Peyton, our VP of sales, we've known each other since high school, and then Wyatt, being best friends since 7th grade. Have any of you guys seen that as like also an advantage? I mean, Garrett, you and Nick, right? Hunter, you and Grant, and was Justin also?
All four of us, actually.
Yes.
All four of y'all. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know, what is your thoughts on that, Brandon? Like, how has it kind of helped?
It's helped as far as that aspect, and just being able to go out there and have a good time. As being friends, there's not a single thing we can tell each other that someone's going to take to heart, as far as ourselves. So it kind of makes that environment a little more comfortable for clients that are coming in. They're not coming in to where it's strictly employees just working. It's guys out there having a good time. The deal with that is all of my friends have also grown up in this area. So, but if I don't know a farmer, they know a farmer. If they don't know a farmer, Adriel knows a farmer, or his dad knows that person, or Wrangler's dad knows that person, or something that one of my little brother Steven, he's also a big part of this. So it's like, he's really good friends with a lot of farmers in this area. So it helps to kind of loosen up the environment and just make it a good time. As far as having the hard conversations, of course everyone has that, but the good thing is when you're buddies, once clients are out, you can take it to the backyard and wrestle it out or do something like that and call it good, shake hands, and get ready for the next group.
No, I couldn't agree more. Sorry, we lost Hunter.
Yeah, my bad. Someone tried to call me. I had to send him to voicemail.
Okay, you're good. What are you going to say, Logan?
No, I was just going to say, what do you guys think? I think it's a competitive advantage, honestly. Like I'm almost a firm believer about this at this point.
Yeah, I would say, like, for me, me and Nick, we didn't spend time necessarily together with clients unless it was on like a video call where we were talking about marketing strategies for them and what we can be doing for them. And it helped because me and Nick were so different on our approach to our work. And so Nick was way more in the weeds and mine was more visionary, kind of casting that vision for the outfitter or whoever our client was. And Nick was able to speak to the details of that. And because we had been friends since we were 4 or 5, we kind of knew what each other was going to say. And it just helped conversations flow and us be able to really like peel back the layers for an outfitter. And so for me, that was one thing. But the second thing is trust for us. You know, when we first started our business, I had a kid, but Nick got diagnosed with cancer at the same time. And it was just like we were put in a really hard spot together at the same time, but we knew we were going to be able to trust in each other to make that happen. And even like going back to when we started our business, like Nick got fired from a job that we both had, and I quit out of solidarity because I was like, no, me and him are going to go do this thing together. And obviously it worked out. You know, the Mallard Bay bought our company and we became employees here. And it's been awesome. It's been a great time. And I've become great friends with everyone here at Mallard Bay. And even outfitters that we work with, our clients, like Hunter, for example, is a great friend of mine. So, no, I think it's a competitive advantage. I'm sure, Hunter, you have maybe something that's more relatable to outfitters on the friendship aspect.
Man, let me tell you, it makes life a lot easier to do anything when you're friends with everybody. You cut out the awkward phase. There's no introductory awkward employee, owner, whatever phase. It's just real easy for you you're all friends here, right? And if you're all friends and you all have respect for each other, you respect each other's positions. So like all of our employees, except for, I guess, 2 new ones starting this year, they've been friends of ours or brothers of the owners or people that we know very well. And, you know, it just came in the hierarchy of, you know, yeah, we're your boss, but we're also all friends here. So we always have like that same standard. During work time, you listen to us and we respect you and we have an employee owner kind of thing. Or when we're hanging out afterwards, we're just all friends, man. If there's no employee owner situation there afterwards, and we've grasped that really well. And then among the 4 of us being owners and all best friends at the same time, like you guys said, with drama, if something happens, it's real easy to sit down and go, all right, guys, you know, this didn't work, or this is bad, or you know, I didn't like how you guys said this, or whatever, and we can handle it without any issue, really, really quickly. And that, I feel like that's like the foundation of our company, is being able to all be friends and have that past and that passion together.
Yeah, well, think about what the customer wants to experience. They want to become friends with you. I mean, right? Like, you know, we've talked about this a lot, Hunter, is that building those relationships up with the customer. If you've got, you know, if everybody's treating everybody like strangers, you know, the likelihood of them returning is not gonna be as high.
Right. Yeah, because it's a big deal as far as like, you know, in my eyes, whenever I go, because like last year we did bring someone in that wasn't, you know, local to here or from our friend group. He was just from a few hours of here, but like just, I don't know, there's something about having your friends being a part of what you're doing. Like Hunter mentioned, the whole awkward deal, all of that is completely out of the window. I mean, it's just, to me, it is definitely an advantage for sure.
I love what you said too, Brandon. Like that was a point I've never thought about. And I've experienced this with like Hunter and his group, like because they're friends. And now that I like sit back and think about it, I've been at outfitters where they're not friends. It was just like, hey, I hired this guy. And they sit at opposite ends of the blind from each other, or they sit next to each other and they're not talking to each other because they are acting like strangers. Like now that I think about it, it is a completely different energy out in the field. When you're able to cut up with somebody next to you, it like opens the door for the hospitality of your guests to be able to cut up with you and be able to relate to somebody. And then it kind of brings them into the whole company, like group as a whole. But Brandon, I wanted to hear, you know, what are kind of the roles? Do you divide up the roles that people play, or does everyone just kind of put on whatever hat needs to be done in that moment?
No, so as far as Steven and Adriel, I mean, those are the 2 guys that I lean on, you know, by far the biggest. You know, those are my 2 right-hand guys. Steven's my little brother. Adriel's one of my best friends. You know, so those 2 guys, in my eyes, have the biggest caps that they wear. You know, when I'm gone, those guys are taking care of pretty much everything. Now, on the other guys' ends, you know, Steven and Adriel are kind of responsible for getting a scout report if for some reason I don't have service out in the middle of nowhere. You know, Steven and Angel can get that scout report. They can sit down with the guys and have that conversation as if I was still there. You know, so that's kind of how we do it. You know, everyone's definitely got their own caps. For sure, Steven and Angel wear the biggest ones when I'm not around, and you know, everyone else, we kind of just have a rhythm to where, you know, even when I'm gone, it's not like I'm gone. You know, my guys can pick up my slack and the ball just keeps rolling as if I was still there.
That's cool. Oh man, I think I just lost what I was going to ask. Dadgummit, I lost it. Sorry.
One.
Okay, go ahead. I had one.
For you, what's it been like to adjust to the business management portion of running? Because you start out, hey, this is what I'm doing as a passion project. Maybe make a little scratch on the side, and then all of a sudden it starts to become expensive. And, at the end of the day, you got to make money, and that's not easy. It's not easy, especially in the first time. And since both of y'all are still in your first time, I imagine it's been a challenge to some extent.
Yeah, for sure. It's first off the bat, by no means am I a guy with number capabilities in my head. I've kind of always from the get-go never really liked school, never really liked any type of number or that type of deal. A big way to help that I have on that is my fiance Kayla. She's got a business degree, or she had went to school for business for a while, ended up changing. But on the back end, she helps me with that quite a bit as far as keeping the bottom line, knowing where we've got to be as far as this month, or as far as keeping this paid or that paid. But it's a challenge to go from, going out and spending a couple grand and getting just the bare minimum and taking, a few locals on some hunts compared to, with the lodge and everything else and expenses. It's a really big difference between running for a hobby and some extra cash on the side to going full blown running a business and running a good professional business at that. Anyone can run a business that isn't ran right, but your returning clients are nearly going to be non-existent. So it is, it's tough. And I'm still learning every day. I mean, there's a lot of deals that I'm still trying to catch on because, like I said, it never has appealed to me in the first one. I hate numbers. I hate math. I hate if you tell me 5 plus 10, I'm going to pull my fingers out and I'm going to start counting on my fingers. So that's never been my strong suit. But yeah, it's a challenge. But just like anything else, you kind of just got to strap it on and take it on the chin and learn as you go.
I like that. So I wanted to hear basically, one topic we've covered with quite a few outfitters and with Hunter kind of more in depth is, once you have clients there, how you're handling the conversations with them and like setting expectations for the day and everything like that before the hunt. Like you said, there's a scout report that you brought up. Kind of lay out what that looks like and how you're communicating with your clients, what the day ahead is going to be.
Yeah, so to back it up even a little bit more, from about 10 days out from the hunt, we always give our clients a call, give an update, because you can see the 10-day weather from now to 10 days. So get them on the phone 10 days before, call them, and just kind of give them an idea of what to expect. Of course, the weather might not be exactly what it's saying right now, but at least they've got an idea of what they're walking into as far as that. We can give them an update as far as how the birds have been acting. Has it been warm, and have they been acting a little bit weird? Has it been cold and everything's patterning well? We can kind of give them a heads up, 10 days in advance, just so they have a little bit of idea of what they're walking into. Now, day one, they get here, let's say they're hunting Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They get here Thursday afternoon. As far as our scout report, we do that every afternoon. So when they get here, we have dinner, have the whole 9 yards to kind of get that awkwardness out there, get everyone comfortable with each other, get some good food in their mouth. And we already have our conversation as far as the scout report prior to that. A lot of it happens. I know there's some guys that they come in from scouting and they have a meeting at the lodge and stuff of that sort. Ours is kind of different. We do that on the road back to the lodge. So whether Steven's coming from this area and Angel's coming from that area and Ricky come from this other area and I came from another area, as we're driving to the lodge, let's all get on a phone call, 4-way phone call, and let's hear what you had. Let's hear who had birds, who didn't, what's the water like over here, that whole 9 yards. So whenever we get to the lodge, and let's say for a client, for example, asks me, which area are we hunting? Well, I'm not getting there and like, well, we haven't talked over it yet, or look at Steven and be like, well, I don't know, what did you see today? So it kind of just keeps it to where we can keep that ball rolling and always be fluent as to what we got going on. But we don't really set it to where clients get here and everyone sees birds as far as our scout report, and we've got birds all the way around. We don't go out and flat out say like, "Oh, dude, like strap your boots on and get ready. It's about to be a burner." Because we did that actually last year. It was towards the end of the year, and it was actually at the very end of the year, and we kind of had a group, and it was let me see, about 4 days before season ended. So, around that time, everyone's kind of just going ahead and busting their water. Into the season, why not? Let's just go out there and have an absolute grand time. So we kind of kicked ourselves in the butt, told our clients, like, hey, first day we smacked them in the Milo field. This next day, we sleep in a little bit. We're going to go set up on the water, and we'll catch them as they're coming back, and we'll go out of the year with a banger. And it was so dang cold that day. They stayed out and fed all day. And they did not come back to water until that afternoon. And so it kind of sucked because we had everyone so hyped up about, this grand old time that we were about to have, and it ended up biting me in the butt. So we kind of learned on that as far as, and that's kind of why we have the phone call on the way to the lodge. That way we can tell each other what all we have, and we can, notify the clients when we get to the lodge as far as what all we got, but keep it to a minimalist and, kick ourselves in the butt as far as that aspect again.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, go ahead, Luke.
What is your secret to nailing those finicky bastards? Because the times I've been on crane hunts, man, they just, they don't know what they want. They don't know where they want to go. They're just freaking flying around. When it's cold, they don't want to, or when it's cold, it's good. But when it's not so cold, they want to be spread out. What is kind of like your secret for that?
Yeah.
Hunter, I know you can't hunt.
No, man, it's kind of, the secret is getting your butt whooped enough times. That's the big secret. Is just going out there and getting it handed to you and be like, well, damn, that sucked. What the hell happened there? That's the secret. I mean, getting out there and just getting your butt whooped and just trying to figure out how to pattern these birds. Because like you said, when it's cold, it's awesome. But like start of the season last year in November, we were hunting. It was 85 degrees in the middle of the day. Everyone knows that ain't very good at all. So we did, and there for a couple of times we did get our butts whooped. I mean, that's kind of, you can get around it some days, and there are just some days you can't. On another side of that, I mean, it's just between learning how to pattern these birds and then learning that goes side by side with scouting. You've really got to put your time in and scout these birds. Everyone knows crane, they've got really good eyes. So, I mean, just hide really well. There's a lot of little things that you can put a lot of attention to that'll go a long ways whenever you're in the field and you're actually hunting these birds. If you can pay attention to the little things, make sure you're hidden, make sure you have a good scout, and just pay attention to, what these birds are actually doing. It can go a long way for you.
So you had mentioned something about, I think you said short hair pointers, and at one point you were hoping to be a breeder or a trainer of them for upland hunting. Gotcha. So do you run your own dogs here now? I'd assume you do for Panhandle?
Yes, correct. So, and I kind of missed out on this the last time whenever you asked about our packages. So we do offer some afternoon upland hunts as well as prairie dog deals in the afternoon. So as far as our upland stuff, it's pheasant, quail, and as far as our short hairs, we do all the training in-house for the short hairs. Now the lab, we send them off, and we've got a trainer in White Ripe. She does a phenomenal job. But just because the whole blind deal, a lot of the pointer stuff is instinct, which it is with a lot of dogs. But you really don't have to teach pointers a whole bunch of technical stuff. A lot of it is just they're going to have it when they're young, and you've just got to make sure they continue to keep it as they grow. So you're not having to teach blinds and casting here and casting there and sitting on a whistle and anything of that sort. Maybe if you get more into the competition side of things, it can get really complicated. But as far as a meat dog, a hunting dog, which is what we have, it's a pretty simple process as far as, choosing the right dog from the right breeder and making sure he carries those traits as he matures and doesn't get bad habits like, breaking on a point or something like that. So we do all the pointing stuff in house as far as all the retrieving lab stuff like that. they go down the road to the trainer because that stuff is way over my head.
Over your pay grade. Yeah, you said it can be hard to get the right dog and like find the right trainer. There's been a bunch of crap going on social media. I don't know if all of y'all have seen that going on in social media with the dog trainers. Have y'all seen that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty insane.
Yeah. Logan, you're missing out.
Yeah, so hold on. I gotta peel this onion back just a little bit. You said prairie dogs.
Yeah.
Let's
Oh,
hear it.
yeah.
I seen you kind of
We
smirk a
do.
little bit when I said it.
We do that same shit. So we do a dove prairie dog combo. Whether you come out, you shoot doves, and then we put you up on a hill with a 223 or an AR or 22, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
We'll line you up on the hill in big old prairie dog town, and you have at it. Like just shoot till you run out of shells, kind of thing. Well, we got so much shit for offering that package from other outfitters.
Really?
So many outfitters were like, yeah, they're like, you can go hunt prairie dogs. I sold that package in like 2 weeks. We sold out of dates in like 2 weeks. Everybody wants to sit up on a hill shooting prairie dogs. And I love that. So when you said prairie dogs, I was like, this guy,
Yeah,
this guy knows what's up.
Like you said, we had guys 2 years ago, and I remember them strictly for this reason. They were asking what all we offered in afternoon stuff, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I'll take you, and you can shoot some prairie dogs." And he's like, "What? That sounds badass." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, it is actually." He's like, "All right, we'll bring all of our stuff." And most guys will come out and they'll plank them with a 17 or a 22 or maybe an AR or something. Now these dudes come out with the damn sniper rifle, if you ask me. I don't even remember what it was, but like these guys, like when we got there, he was like, "Well, how far can we poke them?" I was like, "Dude, it's me, you, and prairie dogs out here. If you can touch them, touch them. I mean, there's not a single thing out here that you're gonna hurt." And so these guys, like, were like literally, one guy was telling the other guy the yardage. Like they went way into depth about shooting these prairie dogs. But it's cool, man. You can set up a line of guys, set them on a table, and or on the top of a hill, like you said. There's not very many hills in the Panhandle of Texas where we're at. So really, just set out a shooting table and let them go to town, because it's the environment at that point. You're just having fun. That's really all it is. It's a good time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everyone loves shooting prairie dogs. That's why I just thought it was funny because I just think it's great to see another outfitter who's doing it because, like I said, I got so much shit for that. Oh, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And it's like I didn't see the issue. I was like, this works. It sells. We're having fun. Everyone's gonna have a good time. I don't see the issue here, but no, I think that's great.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot like there's a lot of older guys that like to chase the upland stuff, but there's some guys that just don't want to sit at the lodge at the end of the day, but they also don't want to go walk in a couple miles in a CRP field and come back home cramping and stuff like that. So the best bet, go to the prairie dog field and go to town. As long as it's not cold outside and there's a little bit of sun, them prairie dogs are going to be out and it's going to be a freaking blast.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Logan, haven't you been on a prairie dog hunt as well? You shot a trophy?
I've been on a prairie dog hunt. We were just riding back on the road one day, and we were turkey hunting, and then we were coming back at the end of the day and going through a prairie dog field, and I was like, let me shoot one of them prairie dogs with my shotgun with turkey left, and I got one at about 80 yards with a shotgun on turkey load. And then we set like a picture. We set up like a.
Am I the only one?
Nope.
No.
I can't hear him either.
Yeah, no, I was playing like I could, but I couldn't.
We can't hear you.
Me too. We can't hear you. You picked up your phone, and I think it connected to that.
Yep, I fucked it up because my.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Anyway, what did y'all hear last?
You were talking about how you propped it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We propped it up like it was like we shot an elk. So we were like behind it, and he got like really close to it, like at the bottom on like 0.5. It made it look like it was a monster prairie dog. Like we killed a
Boone and Crockett
size prairie dog.
You should have put a stick in his mouth like they do the pigs. Put a stick in his mouth, that way you can see his two big old front teeth.
That's funny.
No, it is one of the funnier pictures I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Brandon, do you have any? Usually at the end, we like to have kind of outfitters just kind of give a piece of advice. Most people that listen to this are other outfitters. They're just kind of looking to hear your story. They're looking for tips and tricks and stuff like that. And both with you and Hunter being newer to this, but yet successful in it, we find it important that you're sharing those kind of tips and tricks. So if you had like one piece of advice that you would give to a younger outfitter, or maybe it's an outfitter that's been around for a while, but they're looking to scale, or they're just whatever it might be, I'd love to hear that one piece of advice that you would give to an outfitter.
First off the bat, I mean, I believe everyone would agree with this one. It's just sticking with it. Because everyone's going to come to a point in time to where you're really going to question whether all the money that you're having to spend going into this is going to come out on the positive side in 2 years from now or something like that. And that was an issue I had starting out. Everyone wants to go big off the bat, and it don't always happen that way. So you've kind of got to not get so tunnel vision on the the present time as far as what's going on right now in time, whether you're losing money starting out or something of that sort. You've kind of got to keep an open mind and realize that, it's all going to come around. As long as you're treating your farmers right, you're treating your guys right, and you're treating your clients right, I mean, it's all going to come around in a circle. So for sure, on my side, I would say off the bat, I mean, don't get in your first year and look back at it and be like, holy crap, I just got my butt whooped that year. And maybe the birds whooped your butt too or something of that sort. It's all part of the process. I mean, everyone goes through it. I mean, you kind of just got to stick with it and grind it out. I think that's a really big thing for me, because we've definitely hit a patch in the past where it's been like, Kayla's like, babe, things, the math ain't mathing. And so you kind of just got to sit back, reevaluate what you've got in front of you, and kind of create a game plan on as far as going forward. And as long as you can continue to do that, and like I said, treating everybody right and doing things the right way, it'll come back around. But it's you've got to grind it out, man. Tie your boots, tie them on tight, and give it hell. I think that is a really big thing that I've kind of had to do. Just focus on is keeping the bigger picture in mind, and letting it play, making sure everything in present time is going right the way it should be to what you can control. There's a lot of things you can't, but what you can control, I mean, try your best to make sure those are top notch things that you are giving out. You know what I mean? There's no half-ass job here or there. As long as you're doing it right, it'll be all right. It'll come back around.
100%. It is not a get-rich-quick scheme out here in the outfitting industry. Logan, Hunter, do y'all have any last questions for Brandon before we let him go?
I think I'm good.
Well,
No, I guess the
Brandon,
only question I would have for sorry, I was gonna say the only question I'd have for Brandon is, did you know you made money while you were on this podcast?
I did not.
What? You got a book. So I figured I'd tell you.
Heck yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Yeah, he definitely did. Well, cool. Brandon, where can people find you so that they can book with you too?
Yeah, so if you want to book with us, man, there's a couple different ways. So, of course, we've got the social media. We've got Instagram, Facebook. Facebook is just strictly Panhandle Flyways. Instagram, if you look up Panhandle Flyways, will show up also, but the technical deal is panhandle.flyways. So you can find us on both of those. Also, the website, panhandleflyways.com, and also on Mallard Bay. You can find us there. You can give me a call, and, if I can't get to you, I'll have one of my best friends, Brent Rogers, with an S at the end, give you a call. And dude's awesome. And I couldn't say enough good things about him.
Cool. Well, we've heard that quite a bit about Brant, so love to hear that as well. But yeah, so if you're looking for a crane hunt in West Texas, check out Panhandle Flyways, Brandon. And also, if you're just an outfitter that you heard something from Brandon that maybe you're struggling with or you need advice on, reach out to him. I'm sure Brandon will be there to help you, give you any kind of pointers or advice as well, and vice versa for us and Hunter. So definitely reach out. And if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to like, subscribe to it, and share it with anyone else that you think it might help out or interest. So we'll see you next week. Thank y'all for joining us on the GuideTech Podcast, and we'll see you next week for episode 20 of the GuideTech Podcast.